Eric Forrester.
Hello.
Stephanie, hi. What's up?
Are you in the middle of something?
No, I'm just waiting for my attorney.
For Elliot? What's the matter?
Look, I'll tell you about it later.
All right. I'm calling to let you know that Jessica was interviewed this morning by the assistant district attorney and by the detective assigned to the case.
She was?
Yes, and it has gone pretty much as we'd hoped that it would.
So they're taking Dylan before the grand jury?
Yes. Miss Emerson felt that she had been exploited by Dylan, and so she's going to go to the grand jury and seek an indictment.
Well, good. At least something in my life's going right. Look, I have to go. Elliot's here.
All right. Now take care of yourself.
I will. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for coming by on such short notice, Elliot. I appreciate it.
It's okay. So, how are things going, Eric?
Oh, things have been a lot better.
Is that personal or business?
Personal. It's Sheila. Look, things have gotten completely out of hand.
Why, what's happened?
In the middle of an argument yesterday, Sheila tells me that she's pregnant.
Pregnant?
That's right.
Is that possible?
No, it's not possible. As you know, I've had a vasectomy.
Yeah, but Eric, I understand that after a vasectomy, it could take as long as a month
No,
before...
you're right. You're right about that. But after the vasectomy, I went back and I had a sperm count. I've confirmed that I'm sterile, and that was before Sheila and I had relations. The fact is, if she's pregnant, she's carrying someone else's child.
Well, whose is it?
There's an interesting question. A more interesting question is this. Is she actually pregnant?
You think she's lying to you?
Very possibly, yes.
My Lord, Eric.
Look, my relationship with this woman has become completely untenable. There is no other recourse. I want a divorce.
Sheila.
Look, I know I'm the last person that you wanted to see, but we really need to talk.
Okay, come on in. So what's going on?
Eric and I had a tiff.
All right, I'm listening.
He said he was going to leave me, so I told him I was pregnant.
You what?
Oh, that's not even the good part, Connor. When I told him, he went right through the roof.
Well, that shouldn't surprise you. You know he doesn't want another child.
That's not why he went through the roof.
Then why?
Turns out that my darling husband has had a vasectomy.
You spoke to Eric?
Just before I came here.
What did he tell you?
Not very much, but I could tell by his tone that he's under a great deal of stress.
He has serious problems, Stephanie.
With Sheila.
Now, don't you try to get me to tell you any more than I already have.
If you were me, what would you do?
If I were you, I would go to Eric and I would support him.
Support him?
Yes. He needs that now. Perhaps more than he's ever needed it before in his life.
If he tries to divorce Sheila, she's going to fight him. She's really going to try and hang on.
A divorce is not exactly something that Eric is looking forward to either.
No, I realize that. At this point in his life, it'd be absolutely devastating. I mean, he'd have one hell of a battle with her because she wants to keep that marriage together.
Stephanie, I have discovered something on my own.
What?
Sheila may have already begun to destroy herself.
What do you mean?
I think she might be seeing another man.
Are you serious?
I saw them together.
You've seen her with another man?
Yes, in a compromising position.
Who is it, James?
I can't tell you that.
Did you tell Eric?
Of course I didn't. That would only complicate things.
How could that woman do do something like this to him?
Stephanie, it would be a big mistake to tell Eric. It wouldn't help matters.
Thank you for telling me.
Stephanie, if you love Eric, you will not go to him and tell him something that will make his life any more miserable than it already is. He needs support. He doesn't need gossip or innuendo or rumor. Support him, Stephanie. He needs that desperately.
I'm very sorry, my friend.
You're no sorrier than I am.
Is there anything you think you can do to patch things up?
I've spent countless nights trying to think of that very thing. I just dread going through another divorce. My God, Elliot. But every time I try to talk to her, I realize more and more how impossible it is. I mean, she and I communicate on two completely different levels. I mean, everything out of her mouth is completely self-protective. It's like she's in a war or something. She's either protecting the ground she already has or she's moving forward in her own self-interests. And I, on the other hand, I'm just trying to communicate. I'm trying to talk to her. I'm trying to establish some kind of common ground for us to relate to one another, for us to love one another, for us to be married. But there is no common ground. And I just have to face that fact. And I have to do what has to be done. I want a divorce, Elliot. I want you to file the papers immediately.
All right. I'll get things ready.
There is one other thing you need to know.
What's that?
I told Sheila about the vasectomy.
Eric had a vasectomy?
That's right.
And he didn't tell you about it?
No. No, not a word.
Sheila. Okay. When did he have it done?
He had it a while ago.
Before we...
Yes, before you and I made love.
Which means if you are pregnant...
Which means if I'm pregnant, and I better not be, Connor, you're the father. In every sense of the word.
Eric, did you just say what I think you said?
What the hell else was I supposed to do, Elliot? My wife is standing there telling me she's pregnant when I know damn well she couldn't be. I had to tell her about the vasectomy.
Well, how did she react?
Oh, predictably.
She was furious.
She was no more furious than I was. Look, I hate to admit this, but Sheila and I are a major mismatch. I've tried to ignore that, but I simply can't any longer.
Do you want a word of advice?
Yes, of course I do.
Why don't you take a couple days?
No, Elliot, look.
No,
I
no,
don't
wait,
need to
please,
take a-
please. Eric, listen to me just for a second. The very last thing you want to do right now is to go into a divorce proceeding when you're as angry as you are. Not that you don't have the right to be mad. But your wife feels the same way. She's angry too, and to put it mildly, you are both postured for a very vindictive, ugly battle. Now, you can avoid all that. All you have to do is take a brief time off. A couple of days. Maybe a week. What do you say?
You draw up the papers, Elliot.
All right.
Did you tell Eric about me?
Why would I do that? Connor, I'm not out to ruin you.
Well, I may have done that all by myself, thanks.
I am so sorry.
What the hell was I thinking? I must have been out of my mind.
Yeah, to get involved with me.
Well, it was a crazy idea, Sheila. Me trying to help you and Eric start a family?
I don't think it was that crazy. What's so wrong with it? What's wrong with wanting to feel safe and loved and accepted? God, you know, those are things I haven't felt from Eric in so long. I don't understand him anymore. I don't even know what he thinks anymore.
Sheila, What are we going to do?
I can tell you what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to see if I'm really pregnant or not.
Yes.
Hi.
Stephanie, hi. Come in.
I just saw Elliot getting into the elevator.
Well, I suppose you wonder what's going on.
Well, you certainly sounded very stressed out when I spoke to you on the phone.
I swore I would never put myself through this again. I feel like such a fool.
Why?
Oh, I'm sure you can guess.
Your marriage?
Yes, it's a great mistake.
I wish there was something I could say.
Well, there isn't.
Actually, it wasn't a mistake. You remember how difficult it was for me and for the children to accept the relationship with Sheila?
Yes, I remember that very well, and as it turns out, you were all right.
Well, that's one way of looking at it. Eric, you thought that you were in love with her, and she fulfilled a certain need in your life, and there wasn't anything that I could say or that the children can say that was going to convince you otherwise. And if we had convinced you not to marry her, you would have regretted it.
Regretted it?
Well, yes. Because at some point you would have questioned the decision why you didn't marry her. Then you would have been angry with all of us and resented all of us for it. The truth is, you can't keep another human being from making mistakes in their lives. You had to marry her, considering the way you felt at that time.
Well, this is certainly a different take on it. Especially coming from you.
Well, maybe as I get older, I learn a little more every day.
Mm-hmm. You want to know something? You're younger. You're a lot younger than you were 10 years ago. But you didn't have to marry somebody half your age to prove it.
Well, you did that one with Brooke. You didn't marry Sheila to regain your youth. You married her because you thought that you were in love with her. Because she fulfilled a need in your life. You wanted a woman in your life, and you wanted someone to love you. And she was shrewd enough to see that and to become exactly what it was that you wanted and needed. The sad thing is that it was a lie and a charade. And whenever the charade falls apart, which is always inevitable, someone is left to feel exactly like a fool. But you mustn't do that. You've got to get on with your life and realize that you are not the enemy. Sheila is.
Well,
It's good news, I suppose.
what does that mean? What is it?
I'm definitely not pregnant.
Oh, man, I was gonna... Well, what? Come on, Sheila, this is good news. This is great news.
Why is it that no one can see what it would mean to me to have a baby?
You and Eric could adopt a child.
Eric wants to divorce me, Connor.
Okay, then you start over. You can do that.
What do I start with?
Another man. And don't tell me you can't find another man.
I don't want another man. I want my husband. Don't you understand? Don't you see what's going on here? Eric thinks that I am cheating on him, Connor. He's been looking for an excuse to divorce me for a long time, and now he's got that. Oh no, he's gonna leave me. I am going to be history to Eric, and you know what? I am going to have nothing to show for it.
How long have you and Eric been married?
Almost 2 years.
And no children.
Well, that's not because I didn't want any. It's a little tough to get pregnant when your husband sneaks out and gets a vasectomy. You know what I mean? No, he's just going to get his high-powered attorneys together to form a case against me. And I'm going to be lucky if I walk away with 1 month's rent. My God, I don't even want to walk away from this marriage. I love Eric, Connor, but what am I going to do? What?
Sit down.
I don't want to sit down.
Just sit down, and I will tell you exactly what you're going to do.
You're a good woman, Stephanie Forrester. I'll tell you, sometimes I wonder why I ever...
Why you ever left me?
Yep.
Who knows? One thing I do know, I don't think I was half the woman then that I am today.
I wish I had known then what I know now. My God. The last 4 or 5 years have been incredible. I've learned so much.
Well, then trust your instincts. They were good enough to build a company and have a family, and they got you through 30 years of marriage with me. Most of those years pretty good. So trust your instincts now.
Well, my instincts tell me that it's over between Sheila and me. I just hate the idea of having to face another failed marriage. My God, what kind of an example does that set for our kids? I mean, that tears me up inside as much as anything else.
What do you mean an example for the kids? What are you talking about? You're going to stay in a marriage where you're miserable and unfulfilled, where your wife is miserable and unfulfilled? What do you mean, an example? What kind of a message would that send to them? That if they make a mistake, they're doomed? Come on now, don't do this to yourself.
There's something else, Stephanie.
What?
I told Sheila about the vasectomy.
You told her?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I suppose you had a good reason.
Oh, I did. Sheila tells me she's pregnant.
Is she?
I don't know.
Eric, the two of you do not belong together, and unless you want to spend the rest of your life being miserably unhappy, do the thing that's right for the both of you. End this marriage.
Well, of course, you're right. I have to divorce Sheila.